Hi, I'm George Ray Russell. I'd like to recite a poem called The Birds, dedicated to my dad. The morning chill of autumn did not slow the old man's pace as his axe split the morning air and pounded into place. The wood chips flew and scared the birds which fluttered not too far. They came to roost all in a row, sitting on a bar. The old man stopped to wipe his brow and the birds all fluttered down. They landed on his shoulder and the old man said with a frown, "All right, I'll give you some bird seed," as the tiniest bird lit in his hand, and he pulled some from his pocket. He was an easy supply on demand. And then the old man turned around and saw a stranger standing there. He was dressed in black with steely eyes and long and flowing hair. "I've come for you," the stranger said. "You've had a long life, you see." The old man recognized Death's face, and he said, "You don't want me." "Yes, we do," the stranger said. "Your life on earth is through." "Not right now," the old man replied. "I have a lot of things to do. You see, these guys depend on me," and the birds all fluttered round. "There is no way," the old man said, and he firmly held his ground. "Winter's almost on us. It's too late for them to fly. Without my feeding them, you see, the birds would surely die." The man in black knew he could not use force to get him to come along, but he offered a threat to the old man even though he knew it was wrong. "I'll have that limb fall down on you unless you do agree. I can make this messy, old man. Get your hat and come with me." "I will not come," the old man said, "at least not until spring. I've fed these birds all my life and I love to hear them sing." "Oh, you can stay till spring," the man in black said, "if you can answer to me. I have 3 easy questions about your life. Get them right, I'll let you be." The old man agreed, but insisted only 1 question a day. He wanted the time to help the birds and somehow think of a way to put enough feed out to save his precious friends. The birds had been there all his life. He didn't want that to end. The man in black asked the first question as he brushed back his flowing hair. He smiled when the old man said, "That question's not really fair. What was the birthday gift your mother gave you when you were 1 year old did not seem fair to the old man, but the man in black looked cold. And their wings seemed to beat like a concert, creating a sound from the birds. Their wings seemed to almost be talking, and the word mittens was heard." He had never seen the birds act so strangely in all of his 90 years of care. They would each fly by and caress his cheek and tousle his snow-white hair, and their wings all beat with a rhythm, and the word mittens was clear, but he racked his brain trying to think back to that 1905 year. The old man fed the birds the next morning, as he had done since he was a child. He had not slept very well. His heart and brain were racing wild. He couldn't remember that long ago, and he looked up at the birds, and their vibrating wings beat the sound, and mittens was easily heard. Then the old man turned around. The man in black was there. He said, "Do you have an answer, old man?" as he brushed back his flowing hair. "I guess it was mittens," the old man said. The man in black looked stunned. "You're right. Now tell me, what was the dessert served at your birthday when you were 1? "That is not fair," the old man said, but the man in black was gone. The old man dropped down on his knees, but the older birds started a song. "It was probably cake," the old man said, "but I don't really know." The birds had gathered in the big oak tree and the wind began to blow. The old man got up to start his chores, and the birds rose up in the air and they swarmed about in the autumn sky, but they did not stay up there. They soon swooped down to the old man where he stood silently brooding, and their vibrating wings beat the sound, and the old man heard plum pudding. Opening the window the next morning, the old man cried out, "Oh, what a beautiful day." There was a smile on his face when the man in black asked him, "What do you have to say?" "I think it was plum pudding," the old man said. The man in black looked grim. "You're right, but the last one's harder," and he slowly glared at him. "I want you to tell the very first words your mother said after you were born." "Well, that's not fair," the old man grumbled as he slowly walked to the barn. The man in black vanished. The birds sat quiet while the old man started his chores. The birds just sat, though they twittered a bit, while the old man mended a door. From generation to generation, the birds had always loved this man. They had watched him grow, go off to war, and then come home again. They had loved his new bride when she moved in and watched his children at play. They were sad when his children moved out and grieved when his wife passed away. The birds knew his whole life story, passed down from the day he was born. His cries were heard as the window was opened that early frosty morn. What his mother had said before the window was opened, none of the birds heard. So they sat in mournful silence as the old man looked up at the birds. But they did not swarm. They did not fly. Except one by one, they each came over and nuzzled his neck as the old man worked in the sun. They lit on his shoulder and the brim of his hat, and he'd kiss them and give them some seeds, and he felt as low as an old man can go as he filled all the feeders with seeds. The old man stayed in bed the next morning, too sad to see his life end. Then the door swung open, the man walked in and slowly began to grin. "What say you now? You promised me to come if you don't know this thing." The old man rolled over and quietly asked, "Open the window so I can hear the birds sing." The man in black quickly grew very faint, and he threw his arms up in a storm because those were the words his mother had said exactly the day he was born. "You have until spring," the man in black said, and while the old man ran out to his birds, and they all gathered around and began to sing the most glorious song ever heard. The old man died the very next spring when the weather began to warm, and the birds were there in attendance when they buried him there on the farm. The old man's son and grandson filled all the feeders with feed, and he smiled at his wife as they moved into the house, and he said, "These birds sound good indeed." The old man took his son to the bedroom, read a story with a boy in his lap. Then he carried the boy and gave him a kiss and put him down for his nap. "I love feeding Grandpa's birds," the boy said, "but please do me one more thing. Before you close the door, open the window so I can hear the birds sing." Thank you very much.